Thanks for joining me today, where I'm going to be taking you through the new
Stop. That
Oh.
I had a freeze then because I saw you doing the hands. You don't have to do the hands or anything like that. I'm going to do 3, 2, 1. Then you'll pause and then we start again. Okay.
It just said internet unstable as well.
That's really great. I'm going to make sure Piz is not going to do anything. Hang on a second. Piz. Get off the internet. Right. Okay, ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So I'm going to count you down again. 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining me today, where I'm going to be taking you through the new Salesforce Mobile app and showing you how you can create engaging applications with clicks and not a lick of code. So before we begin, my name is Emmett. I'm a 14-time certified Salesforce consultant for a London-based Platinum partner. I'm also a 4 times Ranger, I'm a Lightning champion, and I'm a co-organizer for Inspire East. But we're not here to talk about me today. We're here to talk about mobile applications. Before we dive in, just a bit of a history. A few years ago, Salesforce released an app called Salesforce One. And with Salesforce One, you were able to quite easily access record details, related lists, and chatter on a record. But you couldn't do much more. It was effectively being able to access your records, edit them, off you go. But even though it came out around the same time as Lightning, it came out and it didn't show any progression, whereas Lightning has obviously been updated time and time again and reinvented. The Salesforce One app, incredibly static. So it didn't improve and it was very difficult to navigate, just a little clunky. Lastly, if you were in sales, so you needed to access opportunities, accounts, contacts, maybe your leads, it was great. It was fantastic. You could do that on the road. You could do that wherever. But probably the majority of people watching this right now, you don't necessarily use Salesforce for sales. So outside of that use case, it became very difficult. So that's where the new Salesforce Mobile comes into play. So the new Salesforce Mobile is effectively the exact same app. You don't need to update anything. You don't need to download a new application. You certainly don't need to buy a new app. You just use the exact same Salesforce Mobile app that you've probably got running on your phone. But you can use Lightning layouts. So no longer are you just confined to details, related, and chatter. You can now fill a mobile page with everything that you can on the desktop. But you can use tools such as component visibility to really hone in what people see and when. So you can ensure that the right data is shown to the right people at the right time and now on the right device. And we'll show you how today. And as I just mentioned there, you can make this a unique experience using tools such as component visibility. You can ensure that you're honing an experience that is useful for the user at that time. And the really cool part of this is that you really are no longer restricted to just showing details of a record or related records. You can implement flows, you can implement Lightning components, you can implement things like report charts and really extend the experience. So you're no longer just looking at data on that mobile device, you're actually interacting with your business and carrying out business functions. So for example, maybe you've got a flow and you run through that flow and then it's making a call out to an external service. Before, on Salesforce One, you could update a record, but now you can actually interact with components that drive your business. So today, I'm going to show you how to do 3 things. I'm going to show you how to add desktop familiar components, such as Path. I'm going to show you how you can instantly expand the functionality of your Salesforce mobile app with Flow. And I'm going to show you how you can show your data with report charts. So let's dive into this demo. So here we've got our org, which is a company called Mobile Force, and they're opening up an account for Salesforce UKI. We can see our details, we can see our related records, and we can see our chatter. Everything is the same as before, familiar ground. Let's have a look at that on a mobile device. So we're opening up the Salesforce mobile app, and we can see Salesforce UKI. We're opening it up, and we can see the highlight. We can see the details. We jump out of that. We can see our related lists. So we can see all of our related records. We jump out of that, and we can see chatter on the bottom. So far, everything's kind of the same. Everything's similar to the old style of app. But let's expand that. So let's go back to our desktop. And what we're going to do now, we're going to hit that top right-hand cog. We're going to go to Edit Page and open up our Lightning App Builder, which is something that we should all be familiar with. I hope everyone is familiar with this anyway. And on the left-hand side, we've got our components. Right now, I've highlighted Path. So let's drag Path onto our page. We've got our path there. We're going to hit Save. And then we're going to hit Back. So now, video getting a little ahead of me there. Right now, we've got our desktop experience. We've got our path on there. And we can see this. We can see our path on our record. We can see that right now it's on training planned. Great, we've got a nice visual representation. It'd be really good if we could push that onto the mobile. So what we're going to do, bear with me because I've just knocked the video out a little bit. We're going to hit the cog on the top right. We're going to go into Edit Page. And this is something that you would only ever need to do one time, but it's so powerful and so important. On the top right-hand side, you're going to see a button called Activate. I'm going to get rid of our existing config in terms of how this page is used, but we're going to click this button, this really, really important button. Beforehand, this page was restricted to desktop. You can see that the options are desktop, phone, desktop and phone. We've now set this to desktop and phone. And this is where the really powerful part comes into play, because all I need to do is hit that button and we've instantly got a deployed solution to a mobile application. So, sorry, let me skip that. So let's have a look at our app. We can see within just a few clicks, we have now got Path on our app. And it's exactly the same experience as the desktop. This is not just a graphical representation of that path. This is not just a graphical representation of where that record is and its status. We can interact with that, which we're going to do. We're going to hit Onboard. We're going to mark as current status, and we even get confetti. This is really not a dumbed down experience. This is the full desktop experience, but in a mobile form factor. And we go back to the desktop, and you can see it's updated that record. This is not a subset of a database. We're interacting with the exact same data. So no matter where you are on the desktop, on the mobile phone, you are getting the exact same experience instantly and getting all those benefits of cloud computing. So that's Path, as you saw, really easy. We drag, dropped, away we go. But let's take it a step further. That's just a visual representation of our data, but what about actually extending a business function through Flow? So we're going to drag a flow onto here, and this is a map. So we're going to be showing a map to our end users. And a map is great, but if you're on a desktop, you're looking at an account, chances are you're probably not too concerned about where that account is geographically. But If you're on a mobile phone and you're looking at an account, chances are you may be on the way there. So a map is something that's far more useful in this use case. So right now, what I've done is I've set up component visibility to show this flow only if you're on a phone. And what we're going to do, we're going to save that and come out. So we're going to hit save and then back. And as you can see, we've got our highlight, we've got our path and our details, but no map. And that's exactly what we expected, because we don't want to see the map on the desktop. We don't expect to see the map on the desktop, but we do expect to see it on the mobile. So let's switch over to the mobile phone. We've got our path and we've got our map. Now this flow is aware of this account, and because it's aware of that account, it's aware of that address, and it's piping that address information directly into that flow, into this component, so we can pinpoint exactly on the map where that customer is. And because it's a flow, we've got full control over this. So as you can see, there's a tiny button there that says take me there. And because it's on a mobile, that button is programmed to interface with the iPhone and with Apple Maps and create walking directions straight away. So let's hit that button. And as we can see, we've now got walking directions from the brewery to Heron Tower, Salesforce Tower, and it's a nice, brisk 15-minute walk. So with just a few clicks, with just a few minutes, we've been able to add path so we can visually see where our record is. We've added a flow in minutes and just a few clicks to extend the productivity and power of our org and our application. So let's just do one more thing. Let's add another visual representation, not just of our record, but of all of our data. We're going to add a report chart. So we're opening up the Lightning App Builder again. And on the left-hand side, there's a component called report chart. Let's drag that on. We've already got a report built. We're going to set our filter so this report will only show records relating to this account. We want this to show on the desktop and the mobile because it's useful on both devices. So we're going to hit save and we'll hit back. And instantly you can see we've got our report chart on our desktop page. And when we go to the mobile, we've got our path, we've got our map, and we've got our report chart. And again, this is not just a dumbed down version of this report chart. This is a fully interactive component. There's a link there that says view report. You click into that, you're going to get all of the report data. You click into one of those records and you can drill and drill down and drill down and drill down, giving you that full experience on a mobile with just a few clicks. So as I mentioned before, the original mobile app, Salesforce 1, was very fixed. It was very clunky. You could access details, related lists and chatter, but not much else. And even though it came out around the same time as the Lightning interface, it kind of got left behind. Finally, Lightning goes mobile. So you can take that entire desktop experience, like for like, every single piece, everything that you love on the desktop, move it into that mobile so you can make your workforce truly mobile and remote. And with that, because it's in Lightning, you can deploy these within minutes. You're editing a page and you're clicking save and it's out there in the wild. Because of features such as component visibility, you've got infinite customization. You can hide certain pieces for devices, for people, for statuses of records, and you can truly make sure that you're only showing the right information to the right person at the right time and now on the right device. And because this application is built by Salesforce, because it's built on the platform that you configure and you code, this grows with you. This grows with the platform. So every 3 times a year, you have new features released on the platform. Those features are going to be available on the mobile. And you don't have to worry about testing, because Salesforce worries about that testing. Super simple. Clicks, not code. You're able to deploy an app in minutes. So, gone over a few things there at quite a brisk pace. If you want to actually go ahead and try this out yourself, and I highly recommend you do, there's a few resources. There's a trailhead module called Transform Your Business with Mobile. It's about 9 hours long, but it literally goes through everything you've seen today. It'll literally get you up and running with your own mobile app. Salesforce have also written a blog called 5 Ways Admins Can Think Like a Mobile App Designer. The link there. Highly recommend you take a look at that, because it's incredibly informative, and it can mean that it can make sure that you build intuitive apps for your end users. And with that, do you have any questions?
Thanks, Chris. That was brilliant and really informative. And actually, I do have a couple of questions myself, which I'd like to ask, although it is completely open to people to put any questions into the chat, and maybe we can catch up with those and respond to them. But let's start kicking you off. You just mentioned now in the resources element of like someone new to think about being a mobile app designer. And actually, whilst I was watching your talk, I did actually wonder myself of, if a lot of people, when they work with Salesforce and they configure, they think first about the desktop, because most people will use it from a desktop. However, more and more people, as you said, are using it on the road as a mobile. So do you have any top tips to give anyone on how they would start to configure that app in the first place, and what sort of things to watch out for, and maybe how to even manage their stakeholders as well?
Absolutely. First and foremost, test. Make sure you test your application, because if you build it and then you just throw it out there without actually seeing how it works in the real world, you're going to lose straight away. But as with any project, hopefully you're going to start off with a level of discovery where you're sitting down with your end users and you're understanding what their needs and their wants are. And by understanding those needs and their wants, you can start to understand what's a priority. Where do you need to show certain elements on the page? What parts of the mobile experience need to be right at the top of that page? What parts don't actually need to be there at all? And you can start to build a fairly fluid app just by talking to your end users and understanding what their actual needs are.
Cool. I mean, let's expand on that. I mean, whilst now the mobile app can show everything that's on the desktop, maybe as a top tip, should you show everything that's on the desktop? I mean, some of those pages can be pretty big.
Absolutely not. So, for example, if you've got a particular record, and you don't care about the related lists on that record, just don't show it. Pretty much any time that you've got a component on that Lightning page, you've got the option to hide it if it's on a desktop or if it's on a mobile. So I highly recommend that you identify the things that are not being used, basically things that are never going to be accessed, that would take longer than 20 seconds to access. You want to hide those from that mobile experience, or at least have them below the fold. So underneath the screen where they would have to scroll to access it. But ideally speaking, you want to be able to ensure that everyone can do what they need to do within a 20-second period on a mobile. Because if it's longer than that, they're going to get bored, they're going to get frustrated.
That's a good top tip, actually. Actually, thinking about that as a 20-second thing. 20 seconds seems to be quite a pertinent time at the moment. And you also showed us a report as well on the mobile. Now, reports are candy to a lot of people who are execs, possibly on the road as well. And question, can you also use ways in order to show certain reports to certain users, just like you can on the desktop?
So at the moment, In terms of report charts on a Lightning page, you're going to get that single experience. So you're able to restrict it based on device or person permission set or the state of that record. When it comes to actual reports, you're effectively falling back on the platform's security level to restrict or open access to those reports. So one of the points I made earlier about how this is very much a desktop experience in a mobile form factor, that theory carries through to reports and to dashboards. So if you have access to those reports and those dashboards on the desktop, you're going to have access to them on the mobile device.
That's great. Thank you very much. Well, Chris, it's been really informative, and thanks for answering my questions as well. It's been lovely to chat, and thank you so much for today.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, I'm Peter Coffey, Vice President for Strategic Research at Salesforce. I'm here live on the expo floor at Dreamforce, still the world's largest single company technology event. The word capado, it means you've got this, and I think that's what people want from DevOps. They want a high level of assurance so that they can go do what they do, which is understand their customers and bring them an experience they've never had before. I'm Peter Coffey with Salesforce, encouraging you to build on capado.